courtroom is silent. Every eye is on Kody, who stands stiff, jaw tight, fingers trembling just slightly. The air is thick with tension. Betrayal, heartbreak, and secrets that have festered for years are about to explode. One revelation here could change everything. And no one, not even his wives, knows who will walk out victorious. Can a family survive a courtroom war where love, loyalty, and lies collide? The morning sunlight barely cuts through the courtroom windows, casting long shadows on polished wooden benches. Christine's hands are clasped tightly in her lap, her knuckles white as her eyes dart between Kody and Robin. The tension is palpable, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. She remembers the nights spent awake, replaying every fight, every whispered promise broken. Today, it all comes to the surface. Robin's voice trembles slightly as she speaks to the judge, explaining how she believes her voice has been ignored in the family's financial decisions. Her eyes flick toward Kody, searching for a reaction, a hint of remorse, but he remains stone-faced, a wall of calm concealing a storm within. Every secret, every hidden resentment is about to be exposed under the harsh light of truth. Across the room, Mary shifts uncomfortably. She's seen this pattern before, each courtroom session like a replay of their worst arguments. But today, there's an edge. A legal line crossed, a betrayal finally documented. The judge, a tall, imposing figure, scans the room, his gavel ready. Silence stretches uncomfortably long. Every heartbeat seems louder than the last. The lawyers speak in measured tones, dissecting contracts, agreements, and promises. Each word feels like a dagger, slicing through years of assumed trust. Janelle leans forward, her brow furrowed, trying to stay composed, but a tear escapes, a small, almost imperceptible sign of the strain. Kody shifts in his chair. He wants to defend himself, but a lifetime of complications leaves him trapped between truths and lies. You might think you know how this ends, but the real twist is about to shatter expectations. The first witness takes the stand, and the courtroom collectively holds its breath. Their words hint at betrayals nobody expected. A secret phone message, a hidden transaction, a meeting nobody knew about. Suddenly, the family's private life is no longer private. Christine's eyes widen, Robin bites her lip, and Kody's hands tighten around the edge of the chair. The tension ratchets higher with every sentence. Outside the courtroom, murmurs spread through the press. Cameras flash, reporters scribble notes, and social media starts buzzing. But inside, only the truth matters. And the truth is more explosive than anyone imagined. Kody looks at his wives, one by one, and wonders if their bonds are strong enough to survive this storm. Would you stay if your world was turned upside down in front of everyone you love? As the session continues, emotional testimonies unravel family dynamics. Accusations mix with confessions, and small betrayals reveal themselves like cracks in a dam, threatening to flood the courtroom with chaos. Every glance, every pause, every trembling hand adds layers of suspense. The story is just beginning, but the stakes are already sky high. And as the judge calls for a brief recess, everyone knows what comes next will change everything. The courtroom reconvenes, and a heavy tension hangs in the air like storm clouds refusing to break. The judge's gavel slams down, sharper than anyone expects, and every head snaps toward the bench. Kody's jaw tightens, and for a moment, the room feels frozen in anticipation. This session will not be a replay of polite arguments. It will be raw, emotional, and unflinchingly revealing. The moment has come for the hidden fractures in the family to show themselves, cracks that have been quietly widening for years. Christine rises first, her eyes dark with restrained fury. She moves toward the witness stand with the quiet confidence of someone who has rehearsed every detail, every grievance, and every painful memory. Her voice trembles only slightly as she recounts a night that has haunted her for years. The night she discovered a secret meeting between Kody and Robin that she had no part of. An arrangement that made her feel invisible in a family she had helped build. She pauses, taking a deep breath, her fingers nervously tapping the edge of the podium. You think you've seen betrayal before, but some truths cut deeper than any words could prepare you for. Robin watches Christine with a mixture of guilt and defensiveness. Her hands are clasped in front of her, knuckles white, lips pressed together in a line. When it's her turn, she leans forward, voice soft but firm, painting her own story. A narrative of feeling overlooked, of sacrifices made that went unnoticed, of her attempts to maintain harmony in a family that seems, at times, like a battlefield. She doesn't just speak to the judge. Her eyes are on Kody, silently demanding recognition, acknowledgement, validation. The silence in the courtroom becomes unbearable, punctuated only by the occasional shuffle of papers or the soft murmur of a lawyer questioning a technicality. Could you hold back your emotions when every betrayal is laid bare in front of the world? Mary sits stiffly, her face a mask of composure, but her eyes betray her fear. Memories flash through her mind like lightning. Whispered arguments in dark hallways, promises broken in silence, moments where she felt powerless to influence the family's decisions. Now, here, under the harsh fluorescent lights, she has a voice. She speaks slowly, carefully, choosing each word as if it might change the outcome, or at the very least, protect herself. Each revelation she offers feels like a spark set to a powder keg, and the room seems to hold its collective breath with every sentence. Janelle, meanwhile, oscillates between quiet desperation and sharp clarity. She leans forward, elbows on her knees, voice rising and falling as she recounts the strain of balancing her own sense of justice with the tangled loyalties of the family. Her testimony intertwines personal pain with legal implications, highlighting how complex it is to navigate love when it exists alongside resentment and secrecy. She glances at Kody mid-sentence, as though challenging him to answer for all the unspoken things, and the intensity in her gaze is almost tangible. The tension here isn't just about legality, it's about hearts broken and trust fractured. Would you forgive if your world was publicly scrutinized like this? Kody finally takes the stand. His voice, steady at first, grows fragile under the scrutiny of his wife's collective presence and the sharp gaze of the judge. Memories surface, and for a moment, the strong facade he has maintained for decades falters. He recounts moments of misunderstanding, decisions he made that he thought were for the good of the family, but that instead sparked resentment. Every word seems to hang heavy in the air, and every pause invites speculation. Has he truly considered the weight of his actions? Or is this another carefully crafted defense? Christine's eyes narrow, Robin's lip quivers, and Janelle's jaw tightens. Would you stand in front of everyone you love and admit mistakes that could shatter relationships forever? The lawyers begin cross-examination, and the dynamic of the room shifts dramatically. What was once personal reflection now becomes sharp, probing interrogation. Questions cut into the air, precise and deliberate, designed to uncover inconsistencies, to reveal truths that might otherwise remain hidden. Christine's hands shake slightly as she responds. Robin's voice wavers as she defends her choices, and Kody's expression flickers between calm and desperation. Every answer here is a battle. Every hesitation a potential weapon for the opposing side. An unexpected witness is called, a family friend who had been close to the inner workings of the household. Their testimony introduces new revelations, private meetings, unshared agreements, and actions that none of the wives were fully aware of. Shock ripples through the courtroom. Christine gasps audibly, Robin blinks rapidly, and Mary looks away, attempting to control the flood of emotions threatening to overtake her. Even Kody shifts in his seat, the first real crack appearing in his stoic demeanor. The courtroom seems to shrink around them, every detail magnified. The smell of polished wood, the sharp click of high heels on the marble floor, the soft rustle of papers as lawyers flip through exhibits. Can a family survive truths that were meant to remain hidden forever? As the session progresses, the emotional intensity escalates. Christine, in a sudden outburst, recounts a moment when she confronted Kody about the hidden decisions that affected her life and her children. Her voice rises, and for a brief instant, the courtroom is silent, every ear straining to catch the words. Robin's eyes fill with tears. Mary bites her lip, and Janelle leans back, exhaling as though trying to release the tension pressing on her chest. The judge raises a hand, calling for order, but the damage is done. The raw emotion lingers, saturating the air like electricity before a lightning strike. Would you break down in front of those you love most if years of frustration finally exploded? The pace shifts now. Quiet moments punctuate the chaos, allowing the audience to feel the weight of the story. Kody sits alone, reflecting on choices that led to this courtroom, on nights spent wondering how each relationship would withstand the strain. Christine, Robin, Mary, and Janelle each retreat into their thoughts as lawyers present evidence. Emails, texts, and photographs that paint an intimate picture of a family at war. Every small revelation adds fuel to the fire. Every glance exchanged between the wives and Kody thickens the plot. Can relationships truly heal when the wounds are displayed so publicly? Suddenly, an exhibit shocks everyone. A letter Kody had written years ago, never shared with any of the wives, detailing private grievances and plans that were meant to be kept secret. The courtroom erupts into murmurs. Christine's hands fly to her face, Robin stares at the floor in disbelief, and Mary gasps quietly. Janelle's eyes harden, and the judge leans forward, signaling the gravity of the moment. This is more than evidence. It is a fracture point, a catalyst for confrontation that threatens to undo every attempt at reconciliation. What would you do if a secret you trusted to remain private was suddenly exposed to the world? The tension ratchets higher when Kody attempts to explain, but each word seems to fan the flames. Christine interrupts, her voice sharp and cutting, calling out actions she believes were manipulative and unfair. Robin follows, her voice shaking, pleading for understanding, for acknowledgement of sacrifices made. Mary's quiet remarks hint at long-held frustrations, while Janelle interjects with a pointed question that leaves Kody momentarily speechless. The room is a tempest of emotion, the calm punctuated only by sudden eruptions of intensity. Would you stay silent, or would you confront the truth no matter the fallout? As the session nears its end, the emotional stakes skyrocket. Christine, Robin, and Mary each deliver heartfelt statements, raw, unfiltered, laden with tears, shaking hands, and voices that crack under the pressure of years of pent-up emotion. The judge calls for a brief recess, and the courtroom empties slowly, everyone lost in thought. Cameras flash outside, reporters murmur speculation, but inside, the family remains suspended in a liminal space, trapped between past regrets and an uncertain future. How far would you go to protect your heart while standing in a courtroom that exposes every fracture? Even in the silence of the emptying room, the weight of what's been said lingers. Kody sits alone, staring at the polished floor, grappling with the realization that words, once hidden, have now taken on a life of their own. The wives retreat into separate corners, each processing the unfolding reality, each questioning trust, loyalty, and the very foundations of their family. Every scene, every moment has built toward this tension, the stage now set for even greater revelations in the sessions to come. And as the camera pans over the silent courtroom, it's impossible to ignore the looming question. Who will emerge unscathed when the next wave of secrets is revealed? And will the family ever be whole again? The courtroom reconvenes, and the atmosphere is electric, thick with anticipation and unsaid accusations. Every step echoes on the polished floors, every glance carries weight, and every whisper feels amplified. Kody sits at the defendant's table, his hands clenched tightly, trying to maintain control. But it's clear that the storm has only just begun. Christine's eyes are sharp, calculating, a quiet rage simmering beneath the surface. Robin's lips tremble as she braces herself for what's coming next. Mary glances down, unwilling to meet anyone's eyes, while Janelle leans forward, her expression a mixture of concern and unspoken judgment. Would you face a room full of those you love, knowing their next words could cut deeper than any weapon? The first witness takes the stand. Someone long trusted by the family, but with knowledge that could shatter every relationship. Their testimony begins calmly, almost innocuously, recounting past events, but gradually the details become sharper, darker, more incriminating. Christine's hands tighten around the edge of the witness stand as she listens, every word a fresh wound reopening old scars. Robin exhales shakily, her eyes fixed on Kody, silently demanding an explanation. The judge sits forward, eyebrows raised, the gavel hovering, as if ready to strike at the slightest sign of chaos. Some truths are so explosive that even the most composed faces can't hide the shock beneath. The tension escalates when the witness mentions a private family meeting Kody held months ago, a meeting that excluded Christine entirely. She flinches, her jaw tightening as memories flood back. The cold, calculating tone of Kody, the dismissive glances from Robin, and the quiet betrayal she felt as she realized she had been intentionally left out. Why would he do this? She thinks, her heart pounding. Robin's eyes widen as she begins to question her own role, unsure whether she was complicit or a pawn. Mary's fingers drum nervously on her knees, a subtle sign of the anxiety building within her. Could a single act of exclusion unravel a family built over decades? As the cross-examination begins, the pace becomes almost unbearable. Lawyers' voices are precise, sharp, slicing through the room like a scalpel. Every question is designed to probe, to provoke, to force Kody and his wives to confront uncomfortable truths. Christine answers with controlled fury, her words deliberate yet dripping with emotion. Robin responds softly, each sentence a careful attempt to justify her decisions without further inflaming the situation. Kody's own testimony is hesitant, his voice wavering, revealing cracks in the facade he has maintained for so long. Would you hold back tears if years of pent-up anger and betrayal were exposed in front of everyone you love? Suddenly, an unexpected piece of evidence is presented. A series of text messages between Kody and an outsider, messages that suggest plans and discussions the wives were never meant to know. The courtroom reacts instantly. Christine gasps audibly, her hands covering her face, while Robin looks down in disbelief. Mary bites her lip, trying to remain composed, and Janelle leans back, her eyes narrowing as the weight of the revelation sinks in. Kody shifts uncomfortably, sweat beading at his hairline. The judge pauses, taking a moment to let the gravity of the situation settle over the room. What would you do if private words, once thought safe, were suddenly weaponized against you? Christine rises, her voice trembling but firm, recounting how these messages confirm suspicions she had long tried to ignore. Her words are sharp, cutting through the tension like a knife, laying bare the hidden betrayals and broken promises. Robin stands too, her voice soft but emotionally charged, explaining her perspective, her intentions, and the sacrifices she has made to maintain peace. Mary speaks next, quietly but with unmistakable intensity, revealing the internal turmoil these secrets have caused her. And Janelle, never one to remain silent, delivers a statement that sends ripples across the room. A pointed observation that exposes inconsistencies in Kody's story, leaving him momentarily speechless. Could you confront someone you love while trying to protect the fragile pieces of your heart? The courtroom tension thickens as the testimony continues. Each witness brings new details, meetings, secret agreements, and emotionally charged moments that nobody knew. Every revelation adds fuel to the fire, every glance exchanged between the wives and Kody intensifying the drama. Christine's eyes glisten with tears as she recalls the emotional toll of being excluded from crucial decisions. Robin's lips quiver, caught between guilt and justification. Mary's hands shake subtly, the result of anxiety and heartbreak mingled together. Janelle's composed exterior begins to crack as her frustration and fear come to the surface. How far would you go to defend your truth when the world watches every move? Midway through the session, a private confession emerges from one of the wives, a long-held secret that no one else in the family knew. The courtroom gasps collectively. Christine's hand flies to her mouth, Robin leans forward in shock, and Kody's expression tightens, a flicker of panic crossing his face. The confession threatens to rewrite the narrative of the entire family dynamic, raising questions about trust, loyalty, and the nature of love itself. What would you do if someone you trusted for years kept a secret capable of changing everything? As the lawyers present evidence to corroborate the confession, the emotional tension reaches a fever pitch. Every photograph, document, and message feels like a drumbeat echoing through the room, each one amplifying the gravity of what has been revealed. Christine's face is pale. Robin's eyes are wide, Mary is trembling slightly, and Janelle grips the edge of her chair, all of them struggling to process the truth while maintaining composure in front of the judge. Kody shifts uncomfortably, the weight of his decisions pressing heavily upon him. Could you remain calm when every piece of your past is scrutinized publicly? The atmosphere changes abruptly when a surprise witness enters the courtroom. A former friend of Kody who had a complicated history with the family. Their testimony brings even more tension, exposing decisions that were meant to remain hidden and questioning the moral choices made behind closed doors. The wives react instinctively. Christine's hands clench into fists, Robin's shoulders sag, Mary's lips press tightly together, and Janelle's gaze hardens, a mixture of anger and disbelief flashing across her face. Kody's composure falters slightly, his responses slower, less assured. Could one outsider's words unravel the carefully maintained facade of a family? Emotional moments begin to intertwine with legal drama as Christine recalls a conversation that haunts her. A conversation where promises were made and broken. Her voice cracks, a tear escaping down her cheek. Robin follows, recounting her side of the story with a trembling voice, describing sacrifices made for unity that seem to go unnoticed. Mary adds her perspective, highlighting the internal conflict and emotional toll of maintaining loyalty amid secrecy. Janelle's interjections are sharp, calling attention to inconsistencies and demanding clarity. Would you stay silent or confront the truth when every word could ignite a fire? The tension is palpable when Kody attempts to explain himself. His words falter, his usual confidence giving way to vulnerability. He addresses each wife, pleading for understanding, yet the weight of accumulated grievances seems too heavy to overcome. The courtroom is a charged cauldron of emotion. Anger, sorrow, frustration, and confusion blending into a nearly tangible force. Every gesture, glance, and pause communicates more than words ever could. Would you risk your relationships to speak your truth, even when the consequences could be devastating? As the session nears its end, the emotional stakes skyrocket. Christine, Robin, Mary, and Janelle each give statements that are intimate, heartfelt, and raw. Tearful admissions, pointed questions, and reflections on the pain of betrayal. Kody sits quietly, absorbing the weight of the revelations, aware that his actions and choices are being dissected and judged by those he loves most. The judge calls for a brief recess, and the courtroom empties slowly, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. Who will withstand the emotional storm? And who will crumble under the pressure of truths finally revealed? Outside, the world waits with bated breath. Reporters, friends, and even casual observers are captivated by the intensity of what has unfolded. Cameras flash, pens scribble frantically, and social media buzzes with speculation. Inside, the family remains suspended in a fragile limbo, each member grappling with what has been said and what has yet to come. The stage is set for the next wave of revelations. More secrets, more confrontations, and more emotional turmoil. How do you protect your heart when every secret you've kept is now public? The courtroom is quieter than before, but the tension is thicker, almost suffocating. Each bench creaks under the weight of anticipation as the families and witnesses return. Kody sits rigid, his fingers tapping lightly against the polished wood of the table. Christine's eyes are sharp, almost predatory in their focus. Robin's hands are clasped tightly, her knuckles white, while Mary stares blankly, trying to prepare herself for whatever emotional storm is coming next. Janelle leans forward, jaw set, clearly bracing for the explosive revelations she knows are imminent. Can a family survive when every secret is exposed in front of those they love most? The first testimony of this session begins with a former family confidant, someone who had been trusted for decades. Their words, calm at first, soon reveal long-hidden tensions and secret dealings that threaten to destroy everything. Christine shifts in her seat, her hands gripping the edge of the bench as memories of exclusion and betrayal wash over her. Robin's face pales, her lips pressed tightly together, while Mary's hands tremble just slightly. Janelle's eyes narrow as she takes in every word, each revelation hitting harder than the last. Would you face your deepest fears in a room where your secrets are weaponized against you? The witness recounts a night Kody held a private meeting with Robin, excluding Christine, Mary, and Janelle entirely. The room seems to shrink as Christine's chest tightens. She recalls the sting of feeling invisible, betrayed by someone she trusted implicitly. Robin's eyes glisten with a mixture of guilt and defiance, while Cody's usually calm expression falters for just a moment. Mary glances down, barely containing her anxiety, and Janelle shifts uncomfortably, the weight of history pressing heavily on her. Could one secret meeting change the course of an entire family's dynamic? As the cross-examination begins, the courtroom erupts into a tense back and forth. Lawyers' voices are sharp and deliberate, designed to uncover inconsistencies and provoke confessions. Christine's words are fiery yet controlled, each sentence a precise accusation. Robin speaks softly, carefully defending her choices while navigating the moral complexities of her actions. Cody's testimony becomes increasingly hesitant. The cracks in his composed facade begin to show, revealing vulnerability and uncertainty. How would you maintain composure when your every word is scrutinized under a legal microscope? Suddenly, a new piece of evidence is introduced. A set of emails Kody had sent years ago that hint at private decisions made without the wife's knowledge. The courtroom reacts instantly. Christine gasps audibly, covering her mouth. Robin leans back in shock. Mary bites her lip to stop herself from speaking, and Janelle's eyes harden, her gaze fixed firmly on Kody. The judge leans forward, signaling the gravity of the revelation, as whispers ripple through the room. What would you do if private words, once thought safe, became ammunition against you? Christine rises, her voice trembling but resolute, recounting how the emails confirmed suspicions she had long ignored. Robin follows, her tone shaky yet emotionally charged, explaining her perspective and intentions. Mary speaks softly but firmly, revealing the internal turmoil caused by these hidden actions. Janelle interrupts at moments, her questions sharp and pointed, challenging inconsistencies and demanding clarity. The courtroom's tension escalates with every word, every glance, every pause. Would you confront someone you love when every truth could tear your world apart? The emotional crescendo begins when Kody attempts to justify himself, explaining decisions he believed were in the best interest of the family. His voice, though calm at first, begins to crack under the scrutiny of his wives and the judge. Christine's eyes narrow, Robin bites her lip. Mary's hands tremble slightly, and Janelle's jaw tightens. Every heartbeat seems amplified, each pause a drumbeat of suspense. Could you defend yourself while everyone you love silently judges your every move? An unexpected witness is called, a former friend with insider knowledge who challenges Kody's narrative and corroborates the wife's grievances. Their testimony is precise and cutting, exposing hidden meetings, secret agreements, and unspoken betrayals. Christine's hands clench, Robin's eyes fill with tears, Mary trembles slightly, and Janelle's composure wavers as the weight of the revelation sinks in. Kody falters, struggling to respond coherently as the courtroom's tension reaches a fever pitch. Would you survive the shock of a trusted ally turning into a witness against you? The session intensifies further as emotional breakdowns ripple through the room. Christine's voice rises, a mix of anger and heartbreak as she recounts moments of exclusion and betrayal. Robin follows, soft-spoken but emotionally charged, pleading for understanding and acknowledgement. Mary speaks quietly but with unmistakable intensity, highlighting the emotional toll of loyalty and secrecy. Janelle's interjections are sharp, exposing inconsistencies and demanding accountability. Could your emotions remain in check when confronted with years of hidden truths? The pace shifts suddenly to quieter, reflective moments. Kody sits alone, struggling to reconcile his decisions with the consequences he now faces. Christine, Robin, Mary, and Janelle each retreat into their thoughts, processing the revelations, the betrayals, and the emotional wounds being laid bare. Lawyers shuffle papers, evidence is presented, and every small detail feels magnified. The click of a pen, the shuffle of papers, the subtle shifting of a body in tension. Would you survive the quiet moments after an emotional storm, knowing the worst may yet come? A bombshell emerges. A secret recorded conversation between Kody and a family associate. The recording is played in court, revealing intentions and decisions Kody had previously denied. The room reacts instantly. Christine covers her face in shock, Robin's eyes widen, Mary trembles, and Janelle leans forward, absorbed in the devastating details. The judge remains calm, but attentive, absorbing the weight of the evidence. What would you do if your hidden actions were recorded and broadcast for all to hear? The courtroom erupts into emotional chaos. Christine stands, voice breaking, recounting the pain caused by the secret conversation. Robin defends herself emotionally, her voice quivering but firm. Mary adds quiet but heartfelt observations, highlighting her struggle to reconcile love with betrayal. Janelle's interjections are precise and pointed, cutting through the noise to demand answers. Kody struggles to regain composure, his voice trembling, the facade he had maintained for years now cracking under the pressure. Could you forgive someone when the truth is harsher than you imagined? As the session nears its end, the stakes reach their highest point yet. Christine, Robin, Mary, and Janelle each deliver personal, heartfelt statements, tearful, raw, and unfiltered. Kody sits in silence, absorbing the full weight of the courtroom scrutiny, aware that his relationships and reputation may never be the same. The judge calls a recess, but the tension remains, suspended like a storm cloud threatening to burst. Who will survive the emotional fallout, and who will be forever changed by the revelations of today? Even in the quiet of the emptied courtroom, the aftermath of the session lingers. Every character is left to confront their own emotions. Grief, anger, betrayal, and heartbreak mix in an almost tangible tension. Outside, reporters speculate, cameras flash, and social media buzzes with curiosity, but inside, the family is trapped in a private storm of turmoil. The stage is now set for even greater confrontations, deeper secrets, and emotional reckoning in the sessions to come. How far would you go to protect your family when the truth threatens to destroy everything? And as the lights dim and the courtroom empties for the recess, one question hangs in the air, heavy and unavoidable. When the next wave of revelations hits, who will survive the emotional storm, and who will be broken beyond repair? The courtroom reconvenes, but the atmosphere is almost electric now. A storm about to break. Every movement, every glance, every breath seems magnified under the intense scrutiny of those present. Kody sits rigid at the defendant's table, jaw tight, fingers drumming nervously against the wood. Christine's eyes pierce him, a mixture of hurt and anger flickering across her expression. Robin's hands are clenched in front of her. Mary sits still, barely breathing, and Janelle leans forward, all of her attention focused on the unfolding chaos. Would you face a room full of the people you love most, knowing every word could change your life forever? The first witness of this session is someone with intimate knowledge of Kody's actions, a former family advisor who had once mediated disputes between the wives and Kody himself. Their testimony begins calmly, almost benign, but soon it reveals a web of secret meetings, agreements, and decisions made without the knowledge or consent of the other wives. Christine's fists clench on her lap, her breath shallow as she absorbs the details. Robin's face pales, her lips pressed tightly together. Mary trembles slightly, and Janelle leans forward, eyes narrowed in disbelief. Some truths are so sharp that even the strongest hearts cannot remain untouched. Christine rises, her voice low at first, then rising in intensity as she recounts moments when she felt deliberately excluded, moments that have left scars she carries to this day. Each word cuts into Kody's composure like a knife. Robin's eyes well with tears, her voice soft but emotional, explaining her side and attempting to justify her intentions. Mary adds her perspective quietly, emphasizing the weight of years of unspoken frustrations and inner turmoil. Janelle's interjections are sharp, calling out inconsistencies and demanding clarity. The courtroom feels like a pressure cooker, the tension almost physical. Could you remain composed when your deepest pains are laid bare for everyone to see? A sudden revelation throws the session into chaos. A hidden document detailing decisions Kody had made without consulting the wives. The document confirms suspicions Christine had long held, leaving her visibly shaken. Robin gasps softly, her hands tightening into fists, while Mary looks away, overwhelmed. Janelle leans forward, eyes blazing, clearly hurt by the duplicity. Kody's face tightens, and for the first time, the usually composed patriarch looks genuinely cornered. How would you react if a hidden truth you suspected was suddenly confirmed in front of everyone? The cross-examination begins, and the pace of the courtroom escalates dramatically. Lawyers' voices slice through the tension with precise questions, designed to expose every inconsistency and every lie. Christine responds with fiery conviction, her voice strong yet laden with emotion. Robin speaks softly but passionately, balancing defense with heartfelt pleas. Kody's testimony wavers, his words tentative as cracks in his facade begin to show. Would you risk exposing your heart when every answer could ignite a firestorm? Then comes an emotional bombshell. A recorded conversation between Kody and a family associate, revealing private discussions that contradict previous statements. The courtroom reacts instantly. Christine gasps and covers her mouth, tears glinting in her eyes. Robin leans back, stunned, trying to process the betrayal. Mary trembles slightly, her lip pressed between teeth. Janelle's gaze sharpens, and she leans forward, visibly shaken. The judge calls for calm, but the emotional current in the room is too strong to suppress. What would you do if your private conversations were exposed, changing the perception of everything you said and did? Christine steps forward, her voice cracking with emotion as she recounts the personal pain caused by the revelations. Robin's voice follows, quivering yet strong, as she explains her intentions and her perspective on the complicated dynamics within the family. Mary speaks softly but intensely, revealing the burden of loyalty and the emotional toll of secrecy. Janelle's interjections are sharp, exposing inconsistencies and demanding accountability. Kody sits in silence, absorbing the cumulative weight of the courtroom's scrutiny. Would you hold your ground or crumble when confronted by the full force of accumulated truth? The session grows even more intense as each wife begins to unravel emotionally. Christine's hands shake, Robin's eyes glisten with tears, Mary's shoulders sag under the emotional weight, and Janelle's composure teeters. Every revelation, every word spoken, every pause adds fuel to a fire threatening to consume the courtroom. Kody attempts to respond, but his words falter, revealing a vulnerability rarely seen in public. Could you maintain control when the emotional tide rises beyond anything you expected? A surprise witness is called, a former insider with direct insight into Kody's dealings. Their testimony exposes additional secrets, private agreements,